also the aspect of work where we are trying to look at how can we use natural language processing and large language models to enable what we're calling low-cost health interventions at scale. And we've been working with partner organizations to be able to solve this because, again, another challenge with researchers sometimes is we get lost in our own world where I identify the problem as a researcher, I come up with a methodology, I solve it, and then from there I talk to a stakeholder and be like, okay, I've come up with this model and I think it can solve your problem. And so what we're trying to do is to be able to work with partners from the beginning, identify the problem, iterate on this together, ideation process together, ideate the whole problem together, and work together so that at the end of it all, we have a problem and a solution. We have understood the problem correctly, and we have a solution, developed a solution jointly that will help us, impact lives, because that's what we are all about here. What are the problems that we have in terms of engagement with the ecosystem? One of the biggest that I'll highlight here is academic engagement, where what we are all about is we are building partnerships with both local and global researchers. And the critical thing for us is that they need to have interest, knowledge, expertise, and even experience working in the ecosystem. That way, even as we get, let's say, the partners from abroad, it's not just to tick the box like, oh, we're doing research in Africa. No, but it's people who are passionate about the challenges we're facing within the African continent and persons who are willing to, work together with us to collectively understand and then solve these problems, right? And so we've been doing that. And the way we are doing this, again, in particular with university, is we've come up with, we set up mentoring programs. We work together a lot, and we also with our colleague Irene in terms of curricular development and review. And the second bit is why I really want to highlight a lot because it's something that I think now Kabarak University, we can actually be able to bring on board because every month we have our monthly seminars. And in our monthly seminars, what we do is we bring domain experts, subject matter experts from a global level, or even local researchers to be able to present some solution or some idea in a particular problem. And so it would be good to have conversations with the pertinent persons so they can be able to include Kabarak in terms in the email circulation so that now the invites come out when you're having this. So we also conduct training and workshops and also collaborative conferences. And we're starting now the third one is we are starting to map out how can we be able to set up summer schools or visiting scholar program. And by summer school, we can think of it. We identify letter one challenge, large language models. It's one of the latest, hot topics. And then what we're planning to do is we invite or we host these locally within Nairobi, somewhere in Nairobi, or maybe in a partner university. And then we invite guest speakers who are experts in this particular area. And then from there, we open it up to universities, to institutions, and anyone who may be willing to learn about this particular topic. And so again, this is something that I think we can collaborate on going forward. The other thing we do is that I know this is very familiar is being a research institute. We are fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know, this is a right word, focused a bit more on the postgraduate level because it's a research institute. This is just an example of the open road that are right for anyone who is doing a PhD right now. We have two open roads, PhD internship, machine learning, and the other one is application of machine learning for geospatial analysis. The invite is still open for the next 2 weeks, I believe. And in this particular case, these are 6 month programs where PhD students actually get attached to marry and work on a critical problem. 6 months. Have a circulation list can be able to share. So again, talking about joint research, collaborative research projects, and again, it's important to highlight an example. that this is not just now from machine learning mathematical point of view. It's really something that we're like, this can actually be plugged in directly to solve a certain problem or to improve weather prediction. And this again, we use advanced machine learning models and advanced mathematical tools, and did this in the African continent. And basically, we're trying to understand and to actually prove that, you know what, these relationships are not linear. And you cannot rely on the classic or correlation bit, because enough times when you're trying to understand dependency or relationships, use correlation, which in this particular case would fail because these relationships are not necessarily linear. What are we doing currently as I wrap up? Right now, we are working in partnership with a university in Rwanda and the Rwandese government to try and understand the problem of floods in the country and try and see what can Microsoft do in partnership with those organizations to solve this problem. And so we are looking at that particular problem. And the interesting bit is that you realize that these things will always happen. It's just like the problem of drought in Kenya, as you will see in the second point. These things will always happen, but what can we do as organizations in partnerships with other interested parties to understand these particular problems? And so these are two interesting problems that we are currently working on. Okay? And I stop there. Thank you.
Thank you, Samuel. That was awesome.
That was awesome.
Sound? We are good? All right. So, any question for Samuel? The point of that presentation is to appreciate what Microsoft research is doing in Africa. I'm happy to note the internships available. That sounds good, isn't it? Very good. Any question that we may have for Samuel as Irene prepares? Irene, I hope you're on board. If you are, just proceed to share your screen. Great, Irene, I see you're there.
You're there.
Sound. Sound? Are we good? I'll be patient. You touch. In IT, if it's working, don't touch it. Don't fix it.
Don't fix it. Don't fix it. Just share. John Kimani.
Okay, I will do so. I will keep talking until you can see my screen. I should be starting that shortly, right about now. advance in your programming, if you're already quite good with Python and C++, jump into this, give it a run. It's quite easy to integrate into your application. The biggest use case that I see with this is mostly on vision, being able, for example, to classify different images and then being able to use these capabilities in your mobile application. Something else that will be interesting to you as developers is something we call Keras. Keras is currently one of the most widely used ML frameworks with over 2.5 million developers as part of its community and ecosystem. Keras has a simple philosophy, which is to enable fast experimentation. Being able to go from idea to result as fast as possible, which is important, especially for those of you who are interested in research. It's especially popular among startups who are looking to get an idea off the ground quickly and move from zero to production ready application. At Google, Keras is already being used. I don't know how many of us have never used YouTube. I'm guessing very few of us. And so the YouTube team at Google, for example, uses Keras heavily. And so at the heart of Keras, we prioritize developer experience, which makes it easy to learn and turn models into products. We now have what we call in Keras 3.0, and Keras 3.0 is a full rewrite of the original code base. Initially, Keras was written with TensorFlow in mind. And what we've realized is that TensorFlow is very popular for production ML. And so with software developers on an everyday basis, a lot of them prefer TensorFlow. But when it comes to machine learning research, right, the world of models and custom models, there's a lot of PyTorch and JAX, which are very popular with ML researchers. And so what Keras 3.0 is doing is bringing these two worlds together. And so using a single API call, you can bring in Keras Core into your application. On the right, what you see is a sample Python application that brings in Keras Core. And so you'd be able to pick a capability from TensorFlow. You can pick a library from PyTorch, and you'll be able to be up and running quickly. So if you go to keras.io, you can see some of those examples that will get you up and running quickly. Something else that will be interesting for you, especially in this world of mobile first, where a lot of us start off with mobile applications as the entry point for the solutions that we're building, is something we call TensorFlow for Flutter. For those of you who haven't heard about Flutter, Flutter is a cross-platform mobile development platform that has been around for 4 or 5 years now. It's built and maintained by Google. It's very popular with mobile applications developers because it has a lot of capabilities that allow you to move quickly, but also be able to write a single code base for different platforms, for Android, for web, for iOS, and most recently for Windows as well. The reason why this project is interesting is because it was actually started off by a student like yourselves. So a student was very passionate about Flutter. They saw this gap where there were no libraries that existed for integrating TensorFlow into Flutter applications. And so once a year, we run this program, which we call Google Sum of Code. And this student was going through Google Sum of Code, and they wrote a TensorFlow Lite plugin for Flutter. The plugin was so popular that the Flutter team decided to migrate it into the official repository for Flutter, making it easier to maintain directly by the Google team. Right? So this is a classic example of innovation can come from anywhere. This was a student in their 3rd year of study. They built a library, a framework that is now being used by developers around the world. This plugin runs on TensorFlow Lite and has already been updated to the latest version. It runs on device models. So again, this idea of being able to bring ML right onto the device, and you can extend it to embedded devices, to web and edge devices as well. So our goal with this plugin is to make it easy to integrate TensorFlow Lite models into Flutter applications across mobile platforms. So take a look at this if you're interested. So on the right, you can see an example of what this plugin does with the vision capability, or you're able to identify different objects using the camera system on your device. All right. Finally, we're now in this generative AI era, which all of us have been talking about and has become such a big deal in the world of AI. From a Google perspective, we've got resources to support you on this journey as well. Historically, artificial intelligence was used to understand and recommend information. The thing about generative AI is that now we're at a point where AI can help you to create new content, right? So generative AI builds on existing technologies like LLMs, large language models, which are trained on large amounts of text and learn to predict the next word in a sentence, or to create images, or to create audio, or even create video. And so last year in mid-December, we announced Gemini, our largest and most capable AI model to date, and the next step in our journey to make AI more helpful and accessible to everyone, including software developers. Gemini comes in 3 sizes. We have Ultra, Pro, and Nano. Nano will be very interesting for us as mobile developers in particular, because you'll be able to bring, again, on-device AI capabilities to life. Gemini out of the box has what we call multimodality, so bridging capability that machines have not traditionally had. Multimodal models have, been historically created by, you have one model that can do text only, you have another model that can do images only, and what researchers have done in the past is bringing those 2 models, in most cases, in a suboptimal way. Gemini is multimodal right from the ground. So you can bring in text, images, code, audio, video into the model right from the onset. And the advantage with this is that for the first time ever now, these AI models are able to experience the world in a way that we can as human beings as well. So what does it mean from a developer perspective? We want to be able to give you access to this model, and the way that we're doing that is using what we're calling the Google AI Studio. If you go to ai.google.dev, you can access this. AI Studio is the fastest way to build with Gemini. What Google AI Studio does, it provides a simple entry point into Gemini, and which can be used for a variety of applications. You can use this for generating text content. You can use it for customizing your own models, doing summarization, classifications. You can do all of that from Google AI Studio. Google AI Studio is free. I remember Dr. Moses said that I should emphasize that. It's free to everyone. It's a web-based developer tool, so you don't need to download anything to your device. You go in there, you get an API key. You can sign in using your Gmail account, so you don't need a special account to sign in. You sign in using a Gmail account, you get access to the studio. You get an API key that you can use for your project. This free account allows you 60 requests per minute, which is a lot in a Gen AI environment. This is actually 20 times more than the industry average. So it's quite generous from a free tier perspective. Once you're done, once you go in, you can put in your API key, generate the code that you have that you'd be interested in. And at this moment, we support four programming languages. We have Python support out of the box. We have JavaScript. We have Node.js, and so C++ as well. And once you generate the code that you want, you can now integrate that code into your preferred IDE. You can bring that code into Android Studio. You can bring it into Google Colab if you're building an AI project, or even our recently announced Project IDX. Project IDX is a web-based IDE that allows you to build different types of applications. So I'd really encourage you to take a look at this. It's a free tool. It really immerses you into the world of generative AI, and you have the flexibility as a developer to decide, to customize your code, to customize your model. It's unlike the original tool that I started with, Visual Blocks, which really doesn't allow you to code anything. This one, you have absolute control. You can write your code, and you can design the application that you want. I know that I have shared a lot of resources, and I'll make this deck available to you all through Dr. Moses at the end. Please jump in. A lot of the tools that we have from a Google perspective are actually open source and free for you as software developers. You can learn, you can build your own custom applications. All the guidance you need would be in there. We have a lot more content on the Google Cloud side. which would be interested. For those of you interested in the enterprise solutions, we have Vertex AI, we have Duet AI, which allows you to operate in a Google Cloud environment. But for you as students, if you're looking to just tinker and understand, bring some of these capabilities into your student projects, then AI Studio has you covered. You have everything you need from there, and all the other tools that I shared with you as well. TensorFlow, fantastic ML library. We spoke about Keras. We spoke about MediaPipe. We spoke about the small TensorFlow plugin that you can use for TensorFlow Lite for Flutter applications as well. And there's a lot more. This list is not exhaustive. So thank you. I wish you the very best as you get into this AI journey. Thank you for being a very attentive audience, and hopefully I'll be there with you in person for the next conference. Back to you, Dr. Moses.
They have clapped. I hope you can see them. Do we have a question for John? He answered it before you asked. The resources are free, huh? For your information, thank you, John, as you may unshare so that Irene can proceed to share. Yeah, Google has been sponsoring our boot camps for the last 3 years in TensorFlow, and we are building some capacity there. We hope that someday we should be able to see a lot more projects using the TensorFlow platform. So we hope to see John here in person, hopefully next semester. We are thinking about a generative AI bootcamp. And all these people you're seeing here are likely to be around for the generative AI bootcamp. Irene, I can see you can hear me. So proceed, go into presentation mode and make your presentation. Irene?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Please confirm you can hear me.
We can hear you.
Okay, good. Thank you. I would like to thank Kabarak University for the opportunity to speak. I would have loved to be there in person, but because of some conflicting meetings, I'm not able to join you. But thank you very much for the opportunity for us to share what we do at Microsoft. So I am Irene Gidinji. I'm the Education Engagements Lead at the Africa Development Center here in Nairobi. I work quite closely with Samuel and the different teams on some of the developer programs that we run in universities. So we do a lot of skilling opportunities for students, developers, exposing them to what we currently have as tools, solutions that they can kickstart their journey. And we also have a lot of programs that focus on working with the faculty, which is what I'm going to share today. So in terms of the faculty skilling program, this was an initiative we launched last year in 2023, and we piloted it with 23 lecturers stemming from 9 universities. And with this initiative, what we wanted to do was work closely with the universities in a way to support faculty skilling in some of the key engineering topics that we feel needed more support and emphasis in the classroom. So I'm going to take you through how we structured the program, some of the universities that we partnered with last year, and also what our focus is for this year in the upcoming faculty skilling program in March. So the picture here is our cohort during graduation. You can see some lovely faces from Kabarak University who are also part of our initial cohort. So the faculty skilling program, and the reason that we came up with the program was to really look at how we can support faculty members in universities, specifically looking at how we can work on pedagogy, how we can support them to expose them to advanced topics in technology. So how do we introduce AI? What are some of the cloud computing platforms that we currently have that they can start to leverage in the classroom? And also looking at the aspect of research and how we can support and work on building research skilling opportunities within the faculty. And the cohort structure was broken down into 4 key areas. So 40% of the content looks at the technical aspect of it. So we focused on supporting the faculty members to really re-up their skills in object-oriented programming, data structures, algorithms, as a way to really ensure that they can start to teach students these key components in a practical level. So we had a lot of practical skilling in those areas and some of the new tools they can start to integrate in their curriculum. Then 30% of the cohort, we looked at evaluating the instruction process and hybrid teaching techniques. So really looking at what are some of the new ways that we can start to introduce evaluation that is not paper exam, but ways where students can work on projects. What are some of the tools that you can have students log in and create projects, and you can assess to see that they've actually understood the different concepts that they've been going through in their learning. And then because we're in the era of hybrid teaching and hybrid learning, we also introduced some of the key functionalities that we have in Microsoft Teams that can really support hybrid teaching and hybrid learning techniques. 20% of the cohort structure looked at some of the tooling that we have on our cloud computing platforms. So we focus a lot on Azure and Azure for Education, looking at what is the benefits for students, for faculty, what are the training modules that we have there, and also what are some of the workloads that you can start to move on Azure as you teach components of software engineering or as you start to introduce elements of cloud security and cloud computing. So how can you start to actually leverage these tools and co-teach with them in the classroom? We also introduced a certification pathway. So each lecturer had 2 certification pathways that they could follow. One was a technical certification. So you could either sit for a cloud computing certification, dynamic certification, which looks at understanding CRMs and how you can deploy and actually use those solutions. And then we also had our non-technical certification, which is the Microsoft Certified Educator certification. So the Microsoft Certified Educator certification was compulsory for all faculty members because it exposes instructors in 21st century design. How do you build lesson plans? How do you build projects with 21st century design, ensuring that you impact those skills to students? So we have an option for students to learn communication, knowledge creation, use of ICT skills. So we really ensured that our MCE certification was at the forefront, and then any other of our technical certifications. So we had a lot of interest in the technical certifications. Our full cohort actually managed to get the 2. So we were really proud of seeing the faculty members go through the program and actually grow all the way to training and certification. And then the last component was job shadowing. So we focused a lot on having the faculty members understand the typical day-to-day of how a development center works. So we exposed them to the different roles that we have at the ADC, understanding the wide range of people that we have who are purely software engineering, program managers, designers, user researchers, user experience. So we really ensured that we took them through that overview. And then we also had an aspect where there was project work. So each of the faculty members belongs to a team, worked on projects that they would then share to the ADC teams that would be supervising them. And it's just a way to showcase what are the roles in technology, how do they all come together and work together to create products or solutions. So we did our pilot last year. We're also launching our next phase of the program in 2024 in March. And with the 2024 cohort, we're going to introduce a lot to do with AI in education. So really looking at how can you leverage the tools that are already in place by Microsoft, ensuring that you are able to integrate some of these great features that we've added in education. We have a lot of new features and announcements in Word, in PowerPoint. We have a lot that's coming out in Copilot. So how do we then expose faculty members to these new tools that they can start to integrate? And then also looking at how do we ensure that you're able to now teach AI across disciplines. So it's not just for the STEM students, but how do we ensure that anyone with an interest, regardless of the field, can actually get exposure to AI, and what are those practical skills that we can start to show lecturers that they can input in their unit planning. So that was on the faculty skilling and immersion program. Like I said, it's an 18-week program, and we really focus on making it as hands-on as possible. A lot of project work, because you learn through doing, and that's what we really emphasize on. Research is a big component and will continue to be a big component on the work that we do with lecturers, and also access to a lot of the resources that we already have as Microsoft. So the faculty members that were with us, we took them through how they can integrate their own classrooms with Azure, the power that is in GitHub for education and the resources that they can leverage, and also some of the resources that they can share with their students. We also took them through just some of the things that they had a session with the recruiter to really understand how do you best prepare students for the future of work. So understanding the new roles that will come up, why is it important to shape students with certain skill sets? It's because it will help them to land roles and to understand what are the new roles that will come up. So we're really looking forward to the next cohort. So on the screen right now, these are the universities that we worked with for cohort 1. We were really excited to pilot and partner with all these universities, and we're really looking forward to the next version of the faculty skilling program. And we'll definitely do have a couple of faculty members for the next cohort from Kabarak. So we are quite excited for the new season. That was it from me to share what we do in the faculty skilling program. We're really excited about the second version, and we're looking forward to launching soon. Thank you for the opportunity to share what we're doing, and we're really proud of the collaboration we have with Kabarak. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Irene. So students coming to a class near you is a more empowered lecturer who is able to deliver even to non-IT people, IT concepts and etc. So thank you very much, Irene. Is there a question? I know this was more directed towards the faculty, but it's just good to know that Microsoft is making that contribution towards our learning. So any question? For your information, Microsoft also has given us a lot of resources on Azure. We have Office 365 available for your use, for your projects, and a lot of resources there. And we are glad that they continue to help us build capacity for training and learning data science. I know next semester, we're already in some discussions about the generative AI bootcamps. Actually, the three had sort of agreed to do something. We just thought it would be too much for 1 week. So watch this space in May. Thank you very much, Irene. I hope you're still on. We really appreciate your time. We apologize for the technical hiccups that caused you not to start as intended. Irene, you still there? Just to confirm, umepokea asanti zetu?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you very much. Asante sana.
And with better planning, I think, and hopefully better circumstances, we hope to see you in person at Kabarak University. Thank you very
Definitely.
much. So ladies, oh yes, there's one question, Irene. Hold on. Who has the roving mic? Hold on, Irene. There is a question here.
Okay.
Sorry, I had not caught it. Switched on. Okay, let me give him this.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to talk. My name is Kengere Kibwage from Kisii University Computing Sciences Department. I just saw a list of colleges that you listed, Irene, and we would also like to take part in it. So if we could get your contacts, then we'll be able to get in touch with you. Thanks.
Yes, we're definitely looking to expand our partnerships with various universities. I know that Moses has my contacts as well as Mati Gashoka, so I'm sure they'll be able to share this with you and we can take up the conversation, but happy to definitely extend our partnership to the university.
Okay, thank you. Dedan Kimathi had the same question. I think you've answered together. Any other question? Being a faculty targeted one, I think that was a very important question. So Irene, you have more clients in a short while. I hope, Irene, you've seen your audience quite engaged. Have you?
Yes. I'm actually seeing the camera rotating. So very, very excited that this is quite a big turnout.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. We really appreciate your presentation. So ladies and gentlemen, let's give all our presenters a round of applause. That is what conference is about. There are things we can never tell you. There are things we don't know. Like I was one of those mesmerized by all these presentations, just learning a lot of things out there that I also need to learn. Yeah? I hope it's been worth your time. This afternoon, just after our lunch, we have 4 breakout sessions. I hope you've noted them in the program. I keep saying that. I don't want to read through. There's one here. There's one in the library conference room. There are 2 at Kabarak University online. One in the main conference room and the other one in the meeting room. So identify, if you're a presenter, which is your room. And as audience, please, we also need you there. Identify one of those areas and go listen. It's a nice thing to just listen and see what other people are doing. We hope it inspires you, and you also have a chance to enrich their work by way of asking a question or making a suggestion. Conference is about learning from each other. So with those few remarks, we have lunch for all of us. Dennis and Benjamin, are you close here? There are these people who hold your lunch in their hands. I'm hoping that they have not disappeared with it. My team down there, can somebody run and get Dennis and Benjamin? Mukwapo? Yes, Benjamin, which ones do you have? So for our students, Kabarak University students, you'll receive your meal card as you exit up there. So whoever is issuing the student meal cards needs to go up there. Ni nani? Panda. Now for Dedan Kimathi Kisii students, wageni wetu, faculty, Kabarak, and from those guests, you receive your meal card as you exit through this door. So, watu wa meal cards mko set? Na wa hapa, ako wapi? Wa wageni bado hajafika. Kama wanafunzi wetu wamefika, tutaendelea. Then our guests, you hold on just a bit. Yeah, so students, you know, we take lunch from the counter. And then we see you all by, honestly, 2:30 in the respective rooms. I want to ask for a volunteer to give thanks for lunch. One of us, ule give thanks for lunch. Oh yes, thank you. And for the morning session, we will not again congregate for closing. The closing will happen in your respective rooms. So the session chairs, you know yourselves, give the closing remarks for today in the breakout rooms. Tuko pamoja? Tomorrow, for those who are still around, we'll have the colloquium for graduate students at Kabarak University online. You are welcome to join it online also. On Thursday, we continue online, and on Friday, we continue online. Join and listen. It helps to just learn, isn't it? We really appreciate. So, on my behalf, thank you all for coming. We may not have this chance to say thank you to you, but thank you for coming and for being a very attentive audience. We give thanks for lunch.
Thank you. Let's pray. Father, we thank you because of your love, that you sent your only Son to go to the cross for us. We thank you so much because of today. You have given us strength for all the sessions. Now, Father, this time we want to break. I ask you, my Father, that you may bless the lunch that is before us, even as you remind us of your ways. In the mighty name of Jesus, I pray. Amen.
So, Kabarak students, pick your meal cards on your exit up there. Our guests, let's hold on. We'll pick them as we exit through this door. Thank you all.